Hello, everybody. This is David Wood from Sports Talk. My guest tonight is Wally from Urban Sports Scene. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. How you all doing?
Good. There's stuff surrounding the NFL, and
I'm excited. Excited to be on the show.
thanks. Uh, to
Thank you.
surround what?
Okay, I didn't hear. I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
There's news surrounding the NFL. There's a new GM in the Washington Redskins team. What's your insight on that?
Oh, it's great. I'm glad that the Redskins had LeBron as the new GM. It's who I'm driving. A guy who has great, who's been known to, who actually has put in the last two teams that have been from the NFC who went to the Super Bowl in the Seattle Seahawks and the San Francisco 49ers. He's developed both teams with their talent. Richard Sherman, he brought in he brought in they brought in Kaepernick and that San Francisco defense of all the stars you see on the San Francisco defense side of the ball. So I'm excited because he's going to bring a tough brand, in my opinion, to Washington Redskins, especially on the defense side of the ball. And also, don't forget, he's the guy who brought in Russell Wilson to Seattle Seahawks. So again, I'm excited because this is a guy who can evaluate talent and can definitely bring that to Washington Redskins, who are desperately in need of talent.
Good. They just hired offensive line coach Bill Callahan. What's your insight on that?
All right, Bill Callahan is an individual. Was a head coach for the Oakland Raiders, so he's had experience with being on a quality team. He's done wonders with the offensive line within the Dallas Cowboys. You saw what the Dallas Cowboys did last season. This season with the offensive line. So he's gonna bring in a more physical style on the offensive line, which this Redskins team desperately needs. We ran the zone blocking scheme, which again is good for the running game, but it's not good for pass protection. And me being a Redskins fan from like back in the early '90s, I will say this much: this Redskins team, in terms of playing NFC East football, is predicated on having a physical offensive line. And this Washington Redskins team will benefit from having Callahan, because Callahan is an ace when it comes to progressing a physical offensive line, and he's gonna bring that to Washington Redskins. Now it's up to our new GM to bring in the talent to help him execute, to help him have an established offensive line.
Well, there's surrounding news that Chicago Bears just signed a new coach, and that's John Fox. What's your insight on that?
Well, John Fox, again, is a great coach. I think John Fox is a perfect fit for the Chicago Bears. John Fox took the Carolina Panthers to the Super Bowl, took Denver Broncos to the Super Bowl. Obviously, he didn't win either Super Bowl, but he's a good coach. He's a guy who's good on defense, great on defense, background. He started off with the New York Giants, the Giants defensive coordinator back in the early I want to say, I'm sorry, late '90s, late '90s. I want to say late '90s. So John Fox is a good defensive coach. When we did the Chicago Bears, we think defense. They went the wrong route with getting a whole head coach who just had an offensive background. Now they're gonna have a head coach with a defensive background, just like they had with Lovie Smith. The Chicago Bears are a better team when they have a defensive-minded head coach.
Okay. There's a shocker that Buffalo Bills they hired was Rex Ryan. What's your insights on that?
Rex Ryan is Rex Ryan is a great coach. Rex Ryan, to me, is one of the better coaches in the NFL. He didn't get a fair shake with the Jets his last couple of years because the GM, John Insick, who didn't believe in Rex Ryan and pretty much gave him nothing. He took that team with that last year to an 8-8 record, and then obviously this season he didn't have a good year. But Rex Ryan is a guy, if you give him talent, he can make it work. Going to Buffalo, who's already has a stout defense, this could be a real boom for the Buffalo Bills and Rex Ryan. I anticipate this the Buffalo Bills making the playoffs and being a strong team. Now all he needs to do is find his quarterback. I'm not a fan of EJ Manuel. Maybe they can find a team to make that Buffalo Bills offense better. I love Sammy Watkins Jr., but I do know that I know Rex Ryan has Fred Jackson and Spiller. He'll probably do the pound and ground thing with the Buffalo Bills, and they'll still be effective. So I expect the Buffalo Bills to be one of the most improved teams next season and definitely making the playoffs because of Rex Ryan.
Okay. I was shocked to hear that Jack Del Rio accepted the head coaching job for the Oakland Raiders. I know he was Jacksonville Jaguars head coach for 9 years. What's your insight on that?
I think it's a good. I think for Jack Del Rio, he wanted to be back in the head coaching game. He really didn't have a real good shot, in my opinion, to land some of the other head coaching jobs. So I think other than maybe the Broncos, but I don't think the Broncos wanted to go that route. So I think, to me, Jack Del Rio has roots in that area. Obviously, he coached. I mean, he was on the coach staff at USC back in Cali. So he's familiar with that area. So I think Jack Del Rio, in my opinion, he did a great job with the head coach of Jacksonville. So he should be a good. I think he'll be a good head coach for the Oakland Raiders. All of this again, it goes back to what Oakland needs to do. Oakland needs to kind of build their team in the draft. They have a good piece with David Carr. Now it depends on what the Oakland Raiders are going to do in the draft. Maybe they should go after the wide receiver from Alabama, Amari Cooper. So you can give Carr some pieces. It's all going to be predicated on what they do in this draft. But I do expect for that Jack Del Rio, because I think he's a good head coach, will definitely improve the Oakland Raiders staff. The Oakland Raiders are definitely they're ascending with the hire of Jack Del Rio.
Okay, former Redskins player, he used to play for the Washington Redskins a long time ago. He was the defensive coordinator for the Arizona Cardinals. Now he's a New York Jets head coach, Todd Bowles. What's your insight on that?
I hope he does well. I'm a little the Jets position, the Jets side is kind of iffy for me. The Jets don't have that much talent, in my opinion. I am in a minority. I am a fan of Geno Smith. I think Geno Smith is not a bad quarterback. So I am in the side of Geno Smith. But again, I don't see that being a good for Todd Bowles. I think to me he's a good defensive coordinator. So maybe hopefully he could be a good head coach. But again, my fear about you let Rex Ryan go. Rex Ryan is a hell of a defensive. He has a great mind when it comes to defense. And you let him go for another guy who coaches defense. And this guy, in my opinion, isn't as good as Rex Ryan. So I'm not sure if he's going to do very well. It's all going to be predicated, again, on what the GM does. But if the GM gets Todd Bowles talent on the offensive side and defensive side of the ball, then yes, I think he'll be fine. If he has the same roster that we saw last season, he's going to struggle.
Okay, there's news with the Washington Redskins that the Redskins are going to interview the former 49ers defensive coordinator.
Yeah.
What's your insights on that if they do hire him?
Well, I like they get Fangio, I'll be happy. I'll be ecstatic. I think that'll be a good sign for the Washington Redskins. Again, they need a great defensive mind. He has a great defensive track record. We're talking about a guy who was built to San Francisco. You saw the San Francisco defense. It's a physical style. It's a physical defense. This Redskins team needs to be physical for them to be successful. And again, traditionally in the NFC East, when you watch the old NFC East, when in the early '90s, when you saw in late '80s, when you saw John Taylor, Lawrence Taylor. And for the Redskins, it was Dexter Manley, Charles Mann, Darrell Green as a cornerback. Even in linebackers like Monty Coleman. These are guys. There's a physical style of football. Eagles, Reggie White, Jerome Brown, folks like that. That was a physical style of defense. The Redskins can bring that style back. When signing a guy like Fangio for this team needs needs to be physical. For too long, we've been a soft defense in terms of defensive line, and even on offense and O-line. But get Fangio, at least on that side of the ball, on the defensive side of the ball, you're going to have a physical style. So I would love if they can do it to pull off getting Fangio. That'd be a great time. That'd be a great time, and definitely a great move for a coaching staff, for the coaching staff.
Yeah, that would be a big upgrade for the defensive staff, like you said. But even though that there's injuries, don't you think that the Washington Redskins can make a playoff run next season if they did hire him?
It's going to depend on what the GM does. Honestly, it just depends on who they bring in terms of talent. This team needs safety help. This team needs help on the D line. To be honest with you, they need an official nose tackle. It's good that Cofield plays hard. Baker played well, but to me on the 3-4, their defense ends on a 3-4. They're going to need an actual legit nose tackle, a guy who can stop the run, or take on who can take on about two blockers, and can take on two blockers, or O-linemen, excuse me. So this team is going to be all predicated on what they do in terms of the draft and free agency. Again, schematically, I think Fangio will have this team ready to go. We'll be a more aggressive and physical team. You won't see people like David Amerson playing 10 yards back in the secondary. You'll see them playing more press. Again, so in my opinion, this team can be effective and it can make a playoff push. But again, it's all predicated on who the GM signs in the offseason and drafts in the offseason.
Do you think that the Washington Redskins needs to hire a QB coach? Because I know the QB wasn't that good this year. RG3.
Yeah.
So.
RG3. I don't think they need to sign a quarterback coach. I think that's all predicated for RG3. That's predicated on RG3. RG3 needs to work. He needs to get up. He needs to meet. And I'm not sure he has or hasn't, meet with Jay Gruden and talk to Jay Gruden on what he needs to work on, and then work on that. Don't worry about going to a quarterback guru in the off season. Worry about what Jay Gruden thinks that you need to work on, and work on that. Study more film. Study more film. RG3 needs to work on his own craft. A quarterback coach, no, it's something totally reliant on him. It's time. If he wants to be a great quarterback, you see what Andrew Luck does. We're not talking about quarterback coaching with Andrew Luck. We're not talking about quarterback coaching with Russell Wilson. We're talking about these guys putting in the effort to become great quarterbacks, or good to great quarterbacks. Excuse me. And that's what RG3 needs to do. He needs to put on the effort to be a good or great quarterback. That's nothing to do, a good or great pocket quarterback. We know he can run the read option when he wants to run the read option, but he wants to be a pocket passer. So if he wants to be a pocket passer, he has to work on being a pocket passer.
What's your insight on the new 49ers head coach?
It's in-house. That's what I like about it. I like the fact that it's in-house. It's a guy who's on the defensive side of the ball, who's very familiar with what the team has to do. He's a younger guy. So, in my opinion, it's good for the team because it's in-house. If you sign a guy who was outside, who didn't coach with Jim Harbaugh, I think it'd be harder for players to ride with the individual. But now since he's in-house, it works better. So I expect the Niners to still be a decent team. I don't expect them to be as good as what Jim Harbaugh was because he brought them to the dance. Jim Harbaugh is a guy who we didn't think of the Niners until Jim Harbaugh got there. Jim Harbaugh took the same talent, so it wasn't like he got an influx of talent. He took the same talent and took that team to the NFC Championship game his first year as a head coach. Then second year took the team to the Super Bowl. So, and the year before that took them to the NFC Championship game again and lost. I mean, obviously this year he made the playoffs, but again, this team is more predicated on what This team is predicated on what Jim Harbaugh did over the last 4 years. But it's a good thing to keep a guy who was in-house, who was under Jim Harbaugh. That way, all he has to do is maintain, and the Niners still have a bunch of talent, so it should still work out to a certain extent.
There's a couple of matchups this weekend in the NFL Plus. The Colts in England and Green Bay in Seattle. What's your insights on those matchups, and who you think is going to win and go to the Super Bowl?
Well, I'll put it this way: the two teams that I think are going to win, I do think the Patriots will probably win, and I know the Seattle Seahawks are going to win. I know Seattle Seahawks are going to win, but I will be rooting. I won't lie. I will be rooting for the Colts because I just like. I love Andrew Luck. I'm a big fan of Andrew Luck, and I would love to see Andrew Luck versus Russell Wilson in the Super Bowl. These guys came out 2012. You got the great Andrew Luck going against the vintage Seattle defense, and I just have faith that Andrew Luck can pull it out because Andrew Luck's a guy who is a special guy. He's a special quarterback. But I will say this: I think Andrew Luck is a guy who could definitely beat the Patriots. I won't say he can't beat the Patriots, but the stars have to align because to me, it's not because of Tom Brady. It's more because of the Patriots defense. You're going against, to me, the best quarterback in the NFL in Darrelle Revis. You got Browner, you got Chung, you got McCourty. These are guys on the secondary. They're tough on the secondary. This Patriots defense is in remnants of what they did in years past over their first run and winning Super Bowls. Because if you really break it down, the Patriots and their Super Bowl championships, they won Super Bowls when the defense was the mainstay on that team, not Tom Brady. Tom Brady was more of a facilitator, more of a manager back then. That's when they were started winning Super Bowls. Tom Brady did win Super Bowls when he was the superstar Tom Brady. So it's going to be interesting now to see this team, see how this team's going to play in the playoffs, in which they have. You saw what they did last week. How they're going to play in the playoffs. I mean, in this game, again, with a good defense and see how Tom Brady performs against a Colts defense who isn't as good as the Baltimore Ravens defense, but it's a decent defense. So I see the Patriots win that game, but I'm going to be rooting for the Colts. Seattle game, Aaron Rodgers has no shot to beat this team. I saw what happened in Week 1. Aaron Rodgers was scared against Seattle's defense, and this guy is now hobbled. I don't see him doing anything against this defense right now. So I see Seattle definitely going to Super Bowl. So it's going to be an interesting championship Sunday.
And there's a shocking news that former head coach of the Redskins, Mike Shanahan, might be a candidate to fill the offensive coordinator job for the 49ers. What are your insights on that?
Wow, I see that you just shocked. I didn't hear about that one. I would be surprised he takes that job. To me, I think Mike Shanahan, his image is took a hit when he coached here for the Washington Redskins. Obviously, like the beef he had with RG3 kind of hurt him. But again, I mean, if the Niners can get that, can do that, that's something that'd be great because he's gonna want to work with Kaepernick. I think he'll do a good job with Kaepernick, to be honest with you. Because Kaepernick is not like RG3. Kaepernick's ready to listen. He wants to be successful. And Mike Shanahan is a smart man. He's a smart defensive coordinator. He's a smart smart offensive. He has a smart offensive mind, and he's a very brilliant mind. And he would definitely utilize Cap. If they got Shanahan, it'd be a good move for San Francisco. But for the head coach, I'd be scared because if he struggled a little bit, Shanahan could definitely take the job in a second. So I would be scared if I was the head coach for the San Francisco 49ers.
Yeah, there's another news that another former Western head coach, the suckest coach in the universe of the Washington fan base, Jim Zorn, is coached the East Shrine game with Mike Singletary. What are your insights on that?
Wow, I didn't even know that. Jim Zorn, to be honest with you, Jim Zorn gets a lot of respect in terms of being a good, he's good to work with quarterbacks. Hasselbeck stated this, Matt Hasselbeck, he was a big fan of him. And Matt Hasselbeck, if you remember Matt Hasselbeck, is a guy who pretty much was a self-made man in terms of being an NFL quarterback and made himself into a starting quarterback. And he attributes that to Jim Zorn. So if you're a quarterback in that game, you can learn a lot from Jim Zorn, from what I've heard. You can learn a lot from him. As the head coach, Jim Zorn is not the guy for as the head coach. If you single him out as a quarterback coach, he's pretty good.
What's your insights on the Miami Heat this year? Because I know Miami Heat is struggling, and they had controversy with LeBron James fighting with the coach and stuff.
we're talking about the Miami Heat struggles. Okay, so are we talking about Cleveland Cavaliers or Miami Heat? Because LeBron James is fighting.
Yeah.
The Cleveland Cavaliers or Miami Heat?
Miami, Cavaliers.
Cavaliers. Okay. So Cleveland Cavaliers. It's gonna be like LeBron is struggling. This team is struggling, but I don't want to blame it totally on LeBron. It's not on LeBron James' fault. I don't even want to blame the coach. It's more of some of the players, like Kyrie Irving, who is a hell of a talent, probably to be one of the better point guards in the NBA in terms of talent, but he doesn't play winning basketball. So Kyrie Irving has to understand to play winning basketball. Once he understands to play winning basketball, this team will be ready to go. This team will be a real good team. It's all predicated on Kyrie Irving. Now, a lot of people talk about Kevin Love. Kevin Love is only as good as what Kyrie and LeBron make him to be. So to me, if Kyrie Irving starts playing winning basketball, which means feeding Kevin Love, feeding LeBron, this team will take off. You know, we saw what happened in Miami with LeBron when LeBron James went to Miami. Dwayne Wade, scaled back a little bit. Chris Bosh scaled back a little bit. That's why that team was so successful. This team has to do the same thing. Kevin Love has to scale back a little bit, but more importantly, Kyrie has to scale back a lot for this team to be successful. If Kyrie Irving plays his role, and he can still be a dominant point guard, if he plays his role correctly, this team could be where it needs to be in a sense to a playoff, to a championship run.
What do you think about Miami Heat?
I'm not a big fan of Eric Spoelstra. Eric Spoelstra isn't a good coach. So it doesn't surprise me that Miami is struggling. Still, to me, a lot of people say like they lost LeBron James, but you got Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh. That's a talented team. That team still is to be one of the better teams in the East. And this team is struggling because Eric Spoelstra to me is not a great coach. So this Heat team won't be surprised they're 7, 8 seed, or 7, 8 seed. But again, they have talent. They do. They have talent. But they're not going to do well because Eric Spoelstra isn't a good head coach.
What do you think about the LA Lakers?
The Lakers. The Lakers are good. The Lakers are rebuilding, which I mean, I grew up a Laker fan, so rebuilding for the Lakers was usually a joke to me. The Lakers are being punished for rewarding Kobe Bryant for a contract because of what he did for them in the past. They should let Kobe Bryant go, or amnesty him, whatever you want to call it, and worked on build the future that way. And then, to me, in my opinion, they would be a better team by now. But now we're trying to keep Kobe Bryant. The team is probably 3 years away from being a really good team again. So the Lakers are going to struggle for a while. I like Byron Scott. I think he'll be a good coach when they get their new talent their new influx of young players. This offseason is going to be essential for the future of the LA Lakers, who they can bring in here. So if they can bring in a star player, a superstar player, then yeah, the Lakers are back. Because they'll just draft around that player, or they'll sign around that player. But they got to get one superstar player in this offseason.
Okay, and one last thing before we conclude the show. New York Yankees. What do you think on the New York Yankees?
All right, so I'm a Baltimore Memorial fan, but the Yankees I'm glad that the Yankees struggle. But A-Rod's getting ready to come back. He wants to play third base. Yankees already have Headley ready to go at third base. They gave him an extension, a nice little deal. The Yankees should be interested. I think they'll be a better team. They'll be healthy. Derek Jeter being gone will be a blessing for him because Derek Jeter wasn't in his prime. They wanted to play him because they love Derek Jeter. But now he's not going to be there. So to me, they're going to have more range defensively at that position, shortstop. A-Rod, I want to see how A-Rod looks this spring. If A-Rod could hit, they should DH A-Rod. We're talking about 39-year-old players should be playing in the field anyway. DH A-Rod. If he can hit, the team could be dangerous. They got some pitchers. They got pitchers coming back. It's all predicated on CC Sabathia is coming back off an injury, off the surgery. If CC Sabathia could even have a glimpse of what he used to be, and the pitching, and I'm forgetting a couple other pitchers. The guy they got from Seattle, can't think of his name. The guy they got from Seattle, he's a good pitcher. The kid they got from Japan, who had to get Tommy John surgery. They have guys that can go, that can really pitch, can really carry this rotation. So the Yankees could be a strong team.
Let the listeners know what you do as a podcaster. What kind of job do you and what job do you do? Like considering what name is the show?
Okay, thank you. I have a show called The Urban Sports Center. It comes on every Tuesday from 7:30 from 7:30 to 9:30. 2-hour show. We talk about sports all out of the DMV, which is the DC, Maryland, Virginia area, professional sports and college sports. We talk about the Washington Redskins, the Washington Bullets, the Washington Wizards, the Baltimore Orioles, the Washington Nationals. Sometimes we cover the Capitals, and we college sports, Maryland Terps in terms of basketball, Georgetown Warriors basketball, college football, Maryland Terps, and all college football. Last week we talked about the national championship game with Ohio State and whatnot. So we talk about all types of sports. If you want to catch any of our shows, the website is www.walio.podbean.com. Walio is spelled WALEO. Podbean is spelled PODBEAN.com. We love bringing sports to you. We do it in an entertaining way. We have fun doing it. And if you ever want to check it out, check it out. And I'm just one of the co-hosts, but I have my man Will, who is the co-host. I'm one of the hosts, and my man Will is my co-host. We enjoy doing sports. We enjoy giving up our own little opinion about what's going on in the world of sports. So it's cool. I appreciate being on the show. The show it's been fun talking to you. It's been cool.
Yeah, we should do this again sometime.
Definitely.
Okay, that's the end of the show. Hail to the Redskins, and
hail to the Redskins.
And nice talking to you.
Nice here, thank you.
Bye-bye. And that's the end of the podcast show. Thanks, everybody. If you want to hear more of the podcast show of this recording, please go on to MD5 Productions and to look at, or some reason my videos on my YouTube website Sports News is unlisted. So if you ever want to hear, you gotta contact me on Austin Wood on Facebook, and I'll send you the link and you can watch my videos. God bless everybody. Thanks for listening. And may the force be with you. And hail to the Redskins, baby. Hail to the Redskins. Hail to the Redskins. Deuces.